Okay everybody, so now we're at the stage where the pigs are going to need water. So what we're going to do is we're going to go the cheapest way possible. And the way that I found this cheap is to do sprinkler lines, okay? So right here, I have 1/2 inch sprinkler line. I got this at Home Depot, about 20 bucks for 100 feet. Okay, so from where I'm connecting it, it's roughly 350 feet. Okay, so I use some garden snips. I'll just cut my line that way. All I'm doing is I'm laying it out. I'm just gonna snip it, okay? Now from here, I will be able to run a T, and I'll T into one pen and T into the other pen, okay? So I'll take a treated 4x4, I'll drill a hole through it, okay? And what I'll do is, on these you can get 1/2 inch thread, alright? So it's a female thread end. And one end will get this put into it, okay? And you'll run your pipe through and you'll thread it tight, okay? So that's just going to hold this watering system in place. And this will go on the ground and the pigs will have as much water as they want using. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to go down to Tractor Supply and get yourself one of these, okay? So the pig bites down, it's a bite nipple. They'll bite down, the water will come out. And if they don't bite down, the water doesn't come out. So it's not constantly running, but it is constantly on. Anytime that they're going to want water, they can have access to water. So you get yourself a piece of pipe, 1/2 inch, and what will happen is you can thread that pipe into this, and you take a female connector and screw it onto the end. You take your nipple and you're going to screw that onto this. Your black tubing goes in here. Okay, and way you're gonna line it up, just so that's just like that. Okay, and they bite down this way. It's a very simple and easy way to give them water. You can do this with brain barrels and other things, but I'm just gonna run it as if it's hooked to a garden hose. Okay, and then you can bury this just a little bit in the ground, and what that'll do is keep the water from getting extremely hot. If the water gets hot, the pigs won't drink it, okay? So what you're going to want to do is just run some water line in some way. You know, it could be rain barrels, collection. You can still put a bite nipple on that. So my suggestion is get yourself a bite nipple and figure out how you want to get your water to them. So I have this, and what I'll do go in, the other end will thread on, okay? Alright, so it goes just like that. And the bite nipple will be just like that, okay? It goes just like this, and you see there is no sway in this because it's drilled through the post. So it's drilled through the post. You got one end where's your weak point, which the pigs won't bite because there's no water coming out of it. But they can't break this end. But they can't break this end because it's in there and it's solid, okay? That's all you're gonna have to do. Just get yourself a drill bit, paddle bit. I don't think you can get a drill bit that big, but And then you'll put this in the ground. You're going to want to put it at about knee height, okay? So we just picked up the pigs today, and this is my last step, just getting them some water. Right now they're just grumpy and ornery because we just moved them, you know, a good distance. We just moved them a good distance away, and they decided to test the electrical fence. So they're pretty testy, but it's not that big of a deal. We'll get this taken care of. They'll have water. Their feed box has got feed in it, and I'll show you how that's doing. But yeah, as of right now, everything's working out great. They know not to touch the fencing, so they tested that already and decided it's not worth it. So let's get this post in the ground, and then we'll get this connected, okay? So when you're doing this piping, try and keep as much dirt out of it as possible. You put a hose clamp on it. They do make crimp ones, but I just like the hose clamps because I've had the splices break, and the crimp ones you can't undo and reclamp. So when you're doing this piping, all you gotta do is take your bit, alright, and take your end, make sure it's nice and clean. And I take a lighter, okay? And I'm just lighting the end, getting it warm. So we have this, and I just gotta shield it from the wind. And all I'm doing is I'm warming this end up. And what that does is make it so I can slide this fitting into it, okay? So it gives it a little bit of give, especially right now where it's still kind of chilly. And you just push it in, give it a light twist, and it will sit right down in there, okay? See? And I'm just gonna take my drill, and I got a bit on it that's the size of this nut for the hose clamp. Okay? And I got it set to where it stops once it gets to a certain tension. Okay? So now I got this and it's secured. What you gotta do is make sure that your tubing is uncoiled all the way. Otherwise it'll want to coil back up. It's not a big issue. You're gonna be covering it with a bit of dirt. So now I got my fitting in there. I'm gonna attach my other side of the tube. Same way. Think you can muscle it on? Go for it. But what I found is it works really nice to warm it up, and then boom, it's pressed on there. Now I got my tubing connected, I gotta get my other one set up. So this tubing comes in a giant roll. It's all taped and saran wrapped together, okay? Works out pretty good, especially if you're only taking what you need. And I like using the garden snips, but piping snips will also work. For the garden snips, I just have them handy. So, I'm gonna get this other side connected. Now I can run my tubing into the pig pen. All I gotta do is debate on where I want this watering station. I think what I'll do is I will just run it close to this back fence. what I'll do is I'll run it close to this middle fence between the two pens, and that way they see each other but they don't have to interact with each other. So I have a very simple gate for this pig pen. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run my line out, get it roughly where I want it. I got to remember that I'm still going to bury this tubing a little bit down, so I have to give myself a bit of slack, okay? So what I'll do is I'll just pull it, get it roughly where I want it, and I'll dig my hole and put my post in. I don't want the pole for the watering station too close to the feed, because what that'll do is when they drink, they slobber a lot. So I'm thinking I'll just keep it off of, or as far away from the feed box as I possibly can, and get that in the ground. Alright. I'll go a little bit deeper than that. This is probably about good. Alright. So I have this set up. It's about up to the height of my knee. Pigs at their young age will be able to reach this, but when they get older, they'll also not have to strain too hard to get it as well. So it'll work quite nicely. A clamp. Fitting on there. You're going to want channel locks. Make sure pipe is good and tight, alright? All I'm going to do is backfill this hole. The idea is just to make it so they can't push it over. Going as deep as I went into the ground, shouldn't be an issue with that. Okay, so I'll bury this black pipe, I'll get my other one in, and that'll give us a nice spot for the pigs to get water. So, if you're going to do backyard pigs, you need food, you need your water, you need your shelter, and you need a pen. Okay? So, thanks for watching.